Frank and Jamie, very good friends, and we really want to thank God for their lives. Thank you. And Pastor Ranjan and Sister Ushanti are here. And before we moved here to Folsom, we were in San Jose area and we were members of that church. And we really, I'm so glad to see Pastor Ranjan here after a long time. And he will be coming and giving greetings, but he really encouraged us to start a church. Even when he knew that we were moving here, he started saying, why don't you start a church? So there is another person that pushed me into this, but this is I'm gladly sharing that God has used such people in my life to do this. And I also want to again thank Pastor Kent and Pastor Mike for Oak Hills, for the staff, and they really opened up their hearts, their church, all the resources, everything we are very freely able to use. And I really want to thank the Oak Hills Church for their generosity. And I also want to thank Steve Keller, our former regional minister, and thank you, Steve. And he is the instrument that brought us into the NAB churches. And I really want to thank Steve because he used to meet with me on a regular basis and encourage me. And I really want to thank him. And also acknowledge Rick Weber. He's not here. He's the regional minister of NorCal NAB. Also want to thank Dan Hamill, executive director NAB. It's an honor for me to have him here, and really thank you for coming. And Gene Kern, founding pastor of Sunrise Community Church, and pastor of another church. And I really want to thank him because of his encouragement. He was part of the credentials committee when I went and sat with them to talk to them about the doctrines that I have written, and also he was part of the people who came to question the Ordination Council. And really, it's an honor for me to receive an affirmation for somebody who has worked in this ministry for so long time. And also want to thank all the friends who came from Bay Area and those very good friends that I have been involved with in different ministries in TCF and other places. And also I want to acknowledge good friend Sai Gomatam from Denver. He just came from Denver just to be here with us. I really want to thank God for you. Just to mention a little bit about him, he was working as a software engineer in Tata Consultancy Services, and he resigned the job because God called him to be a theologian. So he went to study theology, and now he is looking for admission into PhD program. He is from a Hindu background, and God called him for this. So I really want to thank Sai for coming all the way from Denver. And I might have forgotten many people, but people from local churches and pastors, and Pastor Brad Franklin and Brother Abraham, Sister Hannah, and Joe Bremerman, our long-term friend. And thank you all for coming. I want to invite Pastor Steve Keller to come and continue us into the ordination service. Thank you.
Well, I'm standing in for Pastor Rick Weber, who had a conflict in his schedule, so I got a 6-hour pass from the rest home that I'm currently in, and to be here with you tonight. That's not true. Congratulations on 5 years. It's been wonderful to see the things that you've gone through and the growth in your church and the many ways God's worked in your midst to do things that will carry on after this life. So we're all encouraged. Ordination is a process. It's a process that first begins with someone getting an advanced degree in theological studies. 3 years ago, Paul and I met, and he queried me how he could get a seminary degree. And he explored some options. We looked through that, and he worked diligently over these past few years to get that seminary degree, which would allow him then to move on to the next step, to ask for an ordination council to be called. It was called, and a group of men, which Gene Kern was a part of it, the Credentials Committee, got together and examined Paul's doctrinal statement, examined his ministerial qualifications, and found him worthy to be passed on to a council who then would query him and ask him many questions. And after that council asked the questions, Paul was once again found very worthy to be ordained, to be set apart as a part of the fraternity of the ordained ministers of the North American Baptist Conference, which Dan Hamill is our executive director, and he will be giving later Paul a charge and an ordination certificate from the North American Baptist churches, and we're looking forward to that. But Paul has went through this process, and he has been weighed and found worthy. And so it's an honor to celebrate tonight what's already occurred. Paul has been seen fit to be ordained. So as we move on in this, we're going to ask Pastor Rajan Samuel to come forward and bring some greetings from San Jose.